7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's now time for the Pony Cake Sports Podcast with your hosts, Josh Stevens, Tim Thompson, and Tom Schultz. Woo!
Oh, well, it is another week in the books, and Jerry got jerried by Tom. Tom, how's it going?
It was a great week, Josh. Like, I went in the week telling everyone I wanted to out Jerry.
Yeah.
And I did it.
It
feels great putting a bunch of random-ass players in there and then beating someone, especially beating the person who made it famous.
That is a fantastic way to do it, especially since you trolled them with your team name as well. Same team name, but with two U's. Very, very interesting. But the thing is, you look at Jerry's team. Marshawn Lynch, only 5 points. Will Fuller, his key wide receiver that's been churning points out week in and week out. He is wide receiver number 28, mainly because he missed week number 1, and he had this dud of a week this week. But he looked at Will Fuller and he said, 21 points, 18 points, 13 points. Will Fuller, in Jerry's mind, was a wide receiver 1.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where his mentality was. And now he's asking people if Ridley's on the block. Ridley had a dud game. And again, one of these stories where 14 points, 37 points, 20 points. Now he has a dud game and he's trying to trade the farm. What do you make of this situation with Jerry? One bad week, Jay Ajayi tears his ACL. He traded, what was it, a 7th round pick for him or something like that? And now what do you think he's going to do? Trade everybody away? Start tanking with his non-4th round picks that he has?
I really don't know. He's been trying to deal both me and you, Sony Michel, who's probably his best running back right now, the guy with the most upside. So I think Jerry's going to make a big move. It's not going to make sense, and it'll probably work out. I really thought I was going to lose this week seeing Ebron drop 27 on Thursday. I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
That is true. That is true.
Ebron did that to me. Even Sony Michel had a pretty big game, 17.5 points. Patriots D had a solid game. But Gerald, sorry I had to do it to you, but it felt good, bud.
Yeah, when you have Jalen Richard putting up 8.7 points, you're throwing him in your flex. You're throwing out 2 Colt wide receivers and hoping one of them blows up. And they actually both had respectable games, 8.8 and 10.6. Is it safe to say, Tom, that maybe your second running back and 2 of your wide receivers may be completely different next week?
Oh, yeah. I'll probably have 4 to 5 new guys on my roster this week. I got a special name coming out for Josh Schultz.
All right.
I'm going to jerry his ass this week, too, and make him 3-3. And he's probably going to do a fire sale as well.
We're going to go to Thanos versus Josh Schultz. And Josh Schultz wins this matchup. He is now 3-2. Thanos, 1-4. How the mighty have fallen.
You know, I really liked Thanos' team going into the season. Wasn't really sure how he'd draft. We've done a few leagues with him. I thought he drafted okay. But his first-round pick, Doug Baldwin, huge disappointment, especially this week. His 2 running backs have been pretty productive for him. But Julio Jones, in that type of matchup, the dude didn't have a point until like the 4th quarter, I believe. Yeah. Only 8.7 fantasy points. Still no touchdowns. Do you think it's time for him to try to get as much as he can for Julio? I'm pretty sure a couple people have offered at least a 4 for him. And Thanos told him to kick rocks.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I think maybe it also goes back to the trade with David Johnson. Maybe he feels a little butthurt over that and how he didn't get the perceived value for him or the value that he should have gotten. But at the same time, you look at some of his guys that are on his team. Julio Jones, so like you just talked about, he's got Melvin Gordon, who is producing, I believe, in our league. He is running back number 3 overall. Kareem Hunt, quietly having an okay year. He's got he's running back number 9 minus his week 1 performance, all in 15 points or more for the most part. And then Jordy Nelson, quietly wide receiver 2, a solid wide receiver 2. So it's interesting what he would do keeper wise, because if he trades away Julio Jones or Melvin Gordon, who else is he gonna keep? He's not gonna keep Jordy. He's not gonna keep Kelvin Benjamin. He's not going to keep Naheem Hines. He's not going to keep AR-15. He's got to get somebody of perceived value back in return, and you're going to want a 4 in return as well, most likely. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. He'd pretty much need Tevin Coleman to be signed by someone because he's a free agent, go somewhere where he would be starting to have a 4th keeper, in all honesty, like you said. But yeah, it's a tough situation. Hey, Josh Schultz, you got an open bench spot, you bitch. That's a rookie mistake. You make fun of people for that, so pick someone up. But Josh Schultz's team, it's stacked, man. You look at it, especially with Mark Ingram coming back. Le'Veon Bell should be coming back, hopefully for the league's sake. Le'Veon Bell doesn't get traded, so that would really make his team very tough to deal with. But he's 3-2 right now. He's got that bad luck juju right now. After that battle rap from Tim, he's just had some bad luck against him. Hopefully that continues.
Yeah, Brandon Cooks is in his flex. Was out with that concussion for the rest of the game. Be interesting to see what he does in the flex from here on out, if it's going to be Buck Allen or if it's going to be Paul Richardson. So can't start 2 quarterbacks, idiot. Moving on, let's go to, who is this? Justin versus myself. Here we go. I won my matchup 139.7 to 112.4.
I was a little nervous for you, Josh.
I was too.
The way this game started, T.J. Yeldon had a very good game at the noon game. Mahomes did all right, not his normal self, but the addition of Austin Hooper was huge for Justin. And then everything kind of just fell apart. Your team started playing some good football. Pip Rivers has been lights out for you. Christian McCaffrey's been very good. And we kind of saw Michael Thomas have one of his a bad games, kind of back-to-back, quote-unquote, bad games, and you still dropped 140. So that's good for you.
Well, it's funny because at 3:58 on Sunday, because basically all my guys played at night, I believe.
Yeah.
I texted Justin and I said, nice win this week. If I had to lose, glad it was to you. He said, dude, it's not even over yet. You got Rivers and Keenan Allen to go still. And I said, it's done, bro. We'll see. 5:34 p.m. Justin responds, I hate you. I said, why? What's wrong? You fed me hope and life and then spat in my face. I responded with, do you need a hug? I'm trying this be nice thing. So far, working. Josh, I'm very impressed by your team. You developed your team into quite a juggernaut. I hope Thielen breaks his fucking leg. That Wells Welker fuck. That was our conversation back and forth, so it was pretty comical. But yeah, I was somewhat worried looking at what Breida did. He had 12 points, right off the bat. I'm like, God damn it. And then T.J. Yeldon was putting up those points like you talked about. Austin Hooper was a guy that we projected to have a big game this week. And then I saw that Dede had 7 points. It's still respectable for a wide receiver 3. And then I was like, oh, great. He's still got Adrian Peterson to go. Mahomes is going, but at the same time, I felt like he was going to have a dud game because he was one of those guys that we said to temper your expectations on. And then he had Hopkins as well. So I was a little bit worried. But Adam Thielen, baby, he's a monster.
Wide receiver 1 right now.
Phillip Rivers, he's a monster.
Yep.
Keenan Allen, he's going to get 10 throws going his way. If he catches 7 of those, I'm fine with that. It's no big deal.
Your team is super well-rounded, Josh, especially in this format with the addition of the PPR to the league. Your team's going to be a serious contender. Plus, you've already made moves this week to solidify your unit, got added depth, and really didn't have to trade too much. And so I give you big props for that.
Yeah, that was one thing that me and Justin were talking about. Everybody makes this make-believe case that your bench needs to be so deep. Tim is the biggest believer of it. I believe right after the draft we talked about it. Tim said, I like your team, but if you get an injury, you have no bench and you're fucked. Right? That's his go-to motto.
Yep.
But you know what? My thing is, I'm going to try to put out the best team possible, the best starting team possible, because your bench doesn't get you points.
Yep.
And you know what your bench is good for? Is if somebody does get injured. And you know what? That's when you make a trade. And I'm going to stick by that mentality because my team is a lot better than Tim's. So it is what it is.
That's a very true statement.
Moving on to the next team, we got, speak of the devil, Tim Thompson with another loss. 1-4 to King Starfish Tommy. It was looking like it could have been somewhat close. You had David Johnson put up 20 points, and you were like, all right. I could see this possibly happening. And then basically the rest of his team did shit. Cooper Kupp had a pretty good game at 18 points left with a concussion.
Tim's team right now is pretty ugly. Well aware that he has been trading guys here and there. Traded Cooper Kupp today, which was a big-time trade for him. Got another 4th-round pick. I think that makes it 4 for him. I think his season is officially over. I don't see him making any more big-time moves of trading 4 guys. I would expect possibly Philip Lindsay, Amari Cooper possibly to be moved. Maybe Freeman, but I don't see him dealing David Johnson. Tommy's team kind of did what it does. Todd Gurley, another big-time game when Zeke Elliott only gets you close to 12 points and you're still able to put up 130. That's a pretty good week for Tommy. Devontae Adams is an absolute stud. Watch some of the All-22 on him. Yeah. Oh, my God. Him just, like, destroying Darius Slay. He's a lot better route runner and overall wide receiver than a lot of people give him credit for. But I think Tommy's team, it's going to be a contender. Tim straight in the gutter right now, but I'd be worried about Tommy's team right now if I were a lot of people.
You know what's good, Tim, is that you're getting all these 4s, and it's a good thing because the running back draft class is stacked next year. Not. I mean, there's some good guys. I mean, I really like Benny Snell.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of his. But I don't think that there's going to be a running back going in the first round next year. I have a feeling, maybe one. Maybe. And when I say, like, in the first round, I'm talking, like, second half of the first round. There's not going to be any Mr. Barkley going, second overall. There's not going to be anybody going 4th overall, anybody going 12. I could see it being in the second half of the draft. But Benny Snell, I think, will be good next year. So maybe you can get him with your first pick, idiot. Next up, we're going to go with Brett Muhammad versus Tater King. Brett Muhammad is now 0-5. He just made a trade as well with Jerry. But you know what? Kevin's team is 2-3. But regardless of his record, this is still a team I don't know if I'd feel comfortable playing every single week against.
Yeah.
Because you got to look at it. LaShawn McCoy, he is what he is. Isaiah Crowell, as ridiculous as Isaiah Crowell is, this guy
makes no sense.
One random week put up 29. Week 1 put up 22. Week 4, 0.8. Week 3, 18. Which Isaiah Crowell are you going to face that week? That's the good thing for Kevin. The upsetting thing for other players that are playing against Isaiah Crowell. Jared Goff had a down game this week. And the other guy that I wanted to point out, Antonio Brown finally had a big game, 25 points. And Kenny Smooth, 17.8.
That might be the big difference with Kevin's team right now and what makes it very scary. A lot of people, including myself, really thought this team was going to ride or die with Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski, those 2 big guys. But Kenny Golladay is another elite playmaker right now. Wide receiver 16. In fantasy football, he's got 4 games over 14 points, which is fantastic. His worst game is 9.4. He's been scoring touchdowns 3 of 5 games. Big-time draft pick for him. Probably going to be one of his keepers, and absolutely should be. But, yeah, Crowell, dude, man, it's been every other week. Weeks 1, 3, and 5, he's been fantastic. 2 and 4 has been disastrous, under 5 points both of those games. So we'll see what kind of Crowell we get, but no one was calling that performance from him. But this team is able to put up good points week in and week out, and he's a lot scarier than people thought he'd be.
Yeah, think about this too. Crowell had big game, down game, big game, down game. Had a big game here. Is he in store for a down game next week? Maybe.
Yep.
Moving on, Wags, the other 5-0 team now, versus Mike Agent, who is now 2-3. Wags 141.5 to 114.9. Alvin Kamara with a huge day. Oh, never mind. 5.4 points for Alvin Kamara, 4.3 for Dion Lewis, 6.7 for Golden Tate. What the hell is going on with Mike's team?
Kamara. Me and you, Josh, we kind of had a little discussion with Mike before the Monday night game.
Try to warn him.
Yeah, we were like, his usage is going to go down dramatically. Mark Ingram's coming back. He had not majority, but over 50% of the snaps last season. We said that was going to continue. Mike laughed at us, said, well, Kamara's only been getting 80%. He's going to have something similar to that. Not even close this game. I think it was 55-45
It was
again.
55-45, yeah.
Ingram was getting a lot of the goal line work, which Kamara owners do not like to see. Kamara, look, he's still a running back number 1 for me. I think he should still be in everyone's top 10, but his usage, he's not going to get close to 30 touches again this year. I think he's going to be between that 15 and 20 touch, between that 40 and 50% snap rate. And as long as Ingram there, Kamara is not a cheat code anymore.
There were 2 things that stuck out to me in my mind. First thing, we saw Mark Ingram, first running back out on the field to take a snap. Second, punt return. Who was back there?
Kamara.
Alvin Kamara. And I understand you want to get the guy touches. I get it. But if that is how you're going to get the guy touches and not in the backfield, you have to be second-guessing yourself on where he's going to be at for the rest of the year. I'm not going to say trade him because that would be stupid. Mark Ingram is gone at the end of the year.
Yep.
But if you're on a year-to-year basis, or not a redraft basis, which we are not, but if you're on a redraft basis, you may have to consider, you know what, I may have to trade Alvin Kamara. And if you're getting a trade offer like Alvin Kamara from Melvin Gordon, you should probably do it.
Yep.
Because I would do it at that point in time. I think they're going to try to use and abuse Mark Ingram to the end of the season as much as they possibly can.
I agree, and I really think Ingram's going to be a top 12 back the rest of the year. Might not finish there overall, but might have a similar final standing to how Zeke had last year when Zeke missed the 6 games and was a borderline running back 1 still for the whole year. On Wags' team, another solid outing. His team really hasn't been blowing up. He's just kind of been steady.
Consistent.
But big props to Greg, though, because last year he took a year off from fantasy football. He did his work this year. I hung out with him Sunday. What did we do all day? Watch the Red Zone channel. Greg is into football right now. He's into football mode. He's watching football from noon till 10 o'clock at night. That's what I like to see from league members. I wish everyone had that same dedication. Big props to Greg coming out and being 5-0. Something a lot of us in this league have not been able to accomplish. I've never been 5-0. Josh, you could say it after this year. You have been 5-0, but big time props to you, Greg.
I've never been 5-0 until this year, and I will soon be 6-0. But with that being said, I got a text message this morning at 10:22 saying, "The fuck? I gotta face half the same roster again this week." I said, "Ha ha ha. Sorry, bro. Needed to make a move. Laugh out loud, don't matter. I'm going to whoop up on you either way." I said, "We shall see." Wish Mike was playing, as in Michael Thomas, but oh well. I'm glad there are no Monday night games for us. Right, though Thursday is going to be a big night, for me at least, because he's got 3 people going.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying this Mr. Nice Guy thing. Greg is just being a dick, and I may have to take the gloves off for this one. And I don't want to ruin it because I've been Mr. Nice Guy so far, and so far it has treated me very well. But fuck you, Greg. I'm coming for you this week, and I'm hoping I'm going to get this win. I made the moves I needed to do. I've been trying to get James White for 4 fucking weeks. Finally got him. I tried to get him before he blew up. I knew he was going to blow up, but that was the upsetting part. So I had to overpay a little bit. But Greg's team overall, you got to look at it. Stephon Diggs. I have Thielen. And then you got Robert Woods. That's going to be a nice addition because you're a good thing on his team because maybe Cooper Kupp or Brandon Cooks is going to be out. Zach Ertz versus Travis Kelce. It's an interesting matchup overall. I'm excited. I'm excited on it, but at the same time, I want to punch Greg right in the fucking throat. So
yeah, I didn't realize how many guys he has in the game. He's got Jeffrey, Ertz, Saquon, possibly what's his name, Carson Wentz, because I don't know if he's playing Big Ben. This game could be either over by Thursday,
exactly,
or it could be still close enough where those guys just get their projected total. But it'll be very fun to watch.
Yeah, it's gonna come down to the wire. That's for sure. Did I miss a game? Or are we all good? I get them all.
I think that was it.
That was it. All right. Let's go to the next week's matchups. And we could start off with mine and Greg's. We just talked about it a little bit right there. Like I said, I got James White. I got Boyd as well. So it'll be very interesting how those two shake out. But I liked Boyd's matchup against the Steelers.
Yep.
He's got Big Ben. If he's going to stick with Big Ben going against Cincinnati, that'll be a very close matchup as well. But yeah, he's going to have Barkley going. He's going to have Jeffrey going, Zach Ertz going, maybe Wentz going, like you said. And on the other side, I got 1 and 2, 3 Sunday night games, and he's also got 0 Sunday night games. So, like you said, could be over early, or it could be down to the wire.
And he's also got Wendell Smallwood he could throw in there as well, which that's someone I'd be looking to play in this football game.
I don't know if I would. You're looking at his team right now. He's got Jordan Howard. He's got Saquon Barkley. And in the flex, he's got Tyler Lockett. I don't know if I would take out Alshon Jeffrey Woods or Stephon Diggs to put Lockett in, to put Wendell in.
Yeah. I just do not trust that Seattle Seahawks offense right now. Any of them, in all honesty. But, yeah, I get where you're coming from with the Smallwood. Plus, he's already got Jeffrey and Ertz.
Yeah,
You'd have to be relying on a lot of Eagles offense.
How many players can score?
Yeah.
You know? Unless if you're putting up 60 points, which is not very likely. But
on paper right now, I'm going to agree with ESPN. I think you have the slight advantage. This matchup might come down to Stephon Diggs versus Thielen and Ertz and Kelsey. It might be like a little bit 2v2. A lot of your other positions kind of line up pretty favorable and are pretty even in my eyes. I really like Christian McCaffrey and Cam this week against Washington. I think you're going to pull off a victory. I think it's going to be close, somewhere in the 145 to 138 range for you to win.
I'm going to pick myself to win as well. I'm not going to put a number on it because it's just we're going to score a lot of points. Both teams are that good. But I think getting James White is going to be a very welcome addition. You got to look at what the Chiefs have led up to running backs. 31st against opposing running backs. Mike, there is a reason why I targeted him. Also, James White, if you didn't know, is running back number 7 overall. So,
He's been underrated right now.
Yeah, really, really underrated.
Freaking Jerry had to give up higher draft picks to get Robbie Anderson and D Jackson. You had to give up. Kind of gay. But
and Robbie Anderson's not on his team. Or D Jackson. No, he just got D Jackson, right?
And Brett's going to be picking up Robbie.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Moving on, we have Muhammad, who you just talked about, versus Tim Thompson. A team that's 0-5 and a team that's 1-4. Two really shitty teams.
This is not a pretty game right now. Really, not a whole lot of players that I like on either sides. A lot of bad matchups, like Derrick Henry versus Baltimore is terrible. Not a big fan of Royce Freeman versus the Rams. I just think the Rams will be able to get up front. And when that happens, the Broncos, they just forget about Freeman. Marvin Jones is on bye. Will Lutz on bye. Fitz hasn't been able to do anything. Tim, on the other hand, his matchups kind of suck as well. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. Both teams put up under 100. I'm going to give Brett his first win of the year.
I'm going to go with Brett as well. I just got to root for the underdog, even though they're both underdogs. Muhammad gets the win. Tim's just an underdog in life. He's got 3 kids.
This is like the Cardinals and 49ers matchup of last week. Like, no one really cares. Like, one of the teams is going to win.
Doesn't turn out to be an okay game.
Yeah, it was all right.
It's like 2 retards trying to slap each other. Next up, we got Jerry versus Thanos. Jerry's 3-2. Had his loss last week. Thanos 1-4. How do you see this game shaking out?
If you asked me week 1, I would have been like, Thanos will kill Jerry when they play. His team's just so much better. But right now, it's a lot closer than I think a lot of people would think. Look, Thanos right now is projected to lose, but he's without a tight end in his starting lineup. This is going to be a close game. I think Jerry's team's going to rebound this week. You brought up James White against Kansas City. I think Sony Michel against Kansas City is a fantastic matchup as well. I can see both of those guys getting over 15 fantasy points this week. And Michel's doing that for Jerry. That's fantastic. not a big believer in Will Fuller still, but Deshaun Watson, he's just been tearing it up and averaging over 25 fantasy points a game. He's been a stud for this football team. And Jerry gets back his Bears defense. He said if he had them against me, he would have beat me. It is what it is, but I think Jerry's going to get back to his winning ways and get to 4-2. Thanos 1-5. Ooh.
I am worried about Will Fuller against the Bills, actually. The Bills have not given up a touchdown to a wide receiver since week 2 against the Chargers, and that was only one touchdown. Have not given up over 200 yards to wide receivers receiving the ball. Yep. 6th against the wide receivers overall in our league. It's going to be a very interesting matchup. Calvin Ridley, I think Jerry has finally realized that he's coming back to earth, but the good thing is he's facing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week. So I actually think Ridley is going to have a decent day. Not his 37-point day, but I could see a performance like he had in week number 2, like the 4 catches, 64 yards, and a touchdown performance. I could see that happening. So feel comfortable with that. Deshaun Jackson against Atlanta. Again, Atlanta's awful against the wide receivers. 3 touchdowns last week, 2 touchdowns last week, or the week before, 2 the week before, 3 the week before. Feel comfortable with Deshaun Jackson. Just be okay with that. And then on the other side of the ball, I think it's going to be reliant on if Julio Jones actually has a big day or not. If Julio Jones doesn't have his big day, if he has only the 8.7 points, which there is no reason why he should, because Tampa Bay's secondary is goddamn atrocious, it's going to live and die on Julio Jones this week. I think Julio is going to have a big week this week. I'm going to go with Thanos.
Yeah, this matchup might come down to Julio versus Calvin, who has that big game, because someone's going to have a big game out of these 2 receivers.
I think they're going to both have. I think they're going to both have decent games. Calvin's going to have about 15 points, but I think Julio is going to put up like 22.
I believe he had like a 3-touchdown, 200-yard game against the Bucs last year, right?
Don't remind me.
So this could be that 1 week of the year. He does it every year where he gets like 45 points. Yeah. And if that happens, I'm sorry, Jerry Bear.
And then your Bears defense can't help you. Moving on, Tom versus Josh Schultz. 3-2 versus 3-2. Tom, did you think you'd be able to say that 2 or 3 weeks ago?
Not really.
It's tough, man.
Yeah.
Especially when you trade everybody away.
I did trade everyone away. Absolutely love where my picks are. I didn't think I'd beat Jerry last week. Starting the scrubs, I did. I think I got a chance this week. We'll see if Dalvin Cook come back. If not, then even Latavius Murray versus Arizona is a fantastic game. Arizona Cardinals giving up on average 34.4 fantasy points to running backs this year. It's worst in the league, so that's a juicy matchup. We'll see if T.Y. plays. Josh Schultz's team is stacked, man, especially Matt Ryan against the Bucs. He should be able to feast in that game. James Conner's a great matchup against the Bengals. We saw him last week finally start getting a big-time workload. OBJ against the Eagles. Teams have just been able to carve up that Philadelphia Eagles secondary. Yeah. So I'm nervous this week. I'm going to go with myself. I don't think I have much of a chance, but I got about a 5% chance to win. I think I'm going to hit this week.
Hey, you know what? Shit happens, man. Yeah. So
I need Cooks out. I need Cooks to.
Yeah, if Cooks is out, you're sitting pretty good because he's got to rely on either Buck Allen, he's already starting Alex Collins, or Paul Richardson, or the guy that he just traded for, and John Brown. But even still against John Brown against the Tennessee Titans, that's a tough matchup too because look what they did to Buffalo. We know Buffalo sucks. They only gave up 6 points to wide receivers, gave up 40 points to wide receivers in week number 4, but only 11 points to Jacksonville wide receivers in week number 3. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does. I actually am going to go with you as well. I think Josh is going to have a dud of a week this week. I think he's going to be very upset with himself, and I think we may see a trade out of him eventually. Either it's going to be trying to make this team a little bit better, or he's going to say, you know what, I got to revert to what I did last year, trade one of my big names away, and try to improve my way the shitty way like that you're doing right now. Mm-hmm. So it'll be very interesting to see what he does, but I think he's destined to lose this matchup, even though he should win. Moving on, Tommy versus Kevin Long. Interesting matchup.
Kevin's team, we brought it up. It's a lot better than like we thought it would be. Absolutely love Goff versus the Broncos this week. Gotta like Antonio Brown. Gronk against the Chiefs. It's a good matchup. You look at those big running backs for Tommy, though. Not a big fan of Zeke versus Jacksonville, but he should still be able to put up double-digit points. He pretty much does it every week. But Gurley versus Denver. Gurley is an absolute freak, averaging 26 fantasy points per week. It seems like every week he's scoring 2 touchdowns, getting over 100 yards. This guy is a complete game changer. We'll see if Juju can get back on the right path. I got to go with Tommy in this one. I think he's going to get the W. We'll see if Chris Thompson gets back from almost getting killed by Alex Smith. He's a terrible quarterback on Monday night. But Chris Thompson against Carolina is a good matchup. I expect Carolina to get up in front of the Washington Redskins, and positive game flow for him in that one. I like Tommy, though.
I'm going upset alert. I'm going Kevin to win this matchup. I just like some of the matchups that he does have. Overall, I like Crowell against the Colts. Even though he may not top over 100 yards, and the Colts have only given up 100 yards to running back once, they could give up a touchdown or two to Crowell. Antonio Brown against the Cincinnati Bengals, I like that matchup. And Mr. Gronk, I like him against Kansas City as well. So I'm going to go with Kevin.
It's a big-time matchup.
It is.
Tommy needs to win this football game.
Next up, we got Mike Agent versus Justin Stevens. I got this penciled in as my game of the week. Besides me and Greg.
Yeah, you got 2 5-0 teams playing. But besides that, though, this is a big-time playoff implication.
It is.
Both teams 2-3. Both these teams should be better than 2-3 in my eyes. Mike he always makes some questionable decisions, but I think his team is the best in the East right now. Is better than mine and Kevin's team. So him being 2-3 is a little crazy in my eyes. Freaking Justin losing to you last week was a big time loss. He's 2-3. He's kind of lucky that Tommy and Josh Schultz are both 3-2, so he's only a game back from those two guys. But I think Justin's team is just better. He's got Patrick Mahomes, Sunday Night Football. The Patriots really haven't been able to stop anyone. Andrew Luck and a bunch of practice squad wide receivers just threw 350-plus yards against that secondary. I think Patrick Mahomes will be able to do the same thing if he wants to.
Yep.
It's pretty much whatever the Chiefs are going to want to do. I think that's going to be a complete shootout. Close. I think the combined point total is like 59.5 right now, so Vegas is expecting a lot of points. You got to go with Mike in this game. Aaron Rodgers against the Niners, pretty good matchup. 2 stud quarterbacks in this one, but I think Mahomes gives him the edge there. Chris Carson, Aaron Jones for Mike is not really great. When Mike doesn't have Alvin Kamara, his running back core looks a lot worse. I do like Mike's wide receivers, but on the other side, you got Hopkins, Mike Evans against Atlanta. Whew! That is a juicy matchup. You got Michael Crabtree as well. Got to go with Justin in this one.
I'm going with Justin as well, but the one thing that I would probably change or consider changing would be Adrian Peterson for Geronimo Allison if Allison is good to go. That is just me personally.
Kind of help him against Rodgers as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think that would be a big help. But Alfred Morris as your running back, that is tough running as well. Guys should have all listened to us about Leonard Fournette. We told you. Ankle injuries, guys. But yeah, Justin for me. That's all we got, man. Running out of time, so anything, any last minute thing?
That's like all I got. Another good week. Hopefully, we've already had like 6 trades this week.
Yeah.
Probably get 4 to 5 more. Jerry's looking to make some moves. Josh are always looking to make some moves. Hopefully, Jerry will trade Sony for less than 5 fourth-round picks.
I'm always down to make a trade. Hit me up. All right, guys. Until next time.